Both. And with me now is Congressman Krishnamoorthi, Democrat from Illinois and the member of the House Intel and Oversight Committees. Congressman, I want to thank you first for joining us today. You know, how do you justify voting for a bill of this size, of this magnitude, without actually having a chance to read it?
I guess we vote in it in the Christmas spirit, a lot of faith in things we can't see sometimes. But no, in all seriousness, we will be reviewing this as closely as we possibly can in the remaining hours before the vote. I have also been told that the text is imminent, and we have crack staff ready to go to check out the underlying provisions, although the overall outlines of the agreement look very, very good.
And we are talking about thousands of pages of documents here. You know, Senator John Cornyn tweeted just this morning, Pelosi and Schumer have agreed to a $900 billion bill 3 months after turning down an offer of $1.8 trillion from Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. So would you have been better off voting on that bill, which would have come earlier and perhaps been a bit more inclusive?
Well, I think the one thing that Senator Cornyn doesn't mention is that we're going to have a President Biden in just over a month here. And so I think that the facts have changed on the ground, so to speak. But nevertheless, this $900 billion bill is essential relief for the next 3 months, which is possibly the worst part of the pandemic, as you know. And I think that we will have to do more come mid-March once President Biden takes office.
I want to switch gears for a moment, Congressman, to something we've just heard Josh Letterman say a moment ago about this Russia hack. I mean, as a member of the House Intelligence Committee, what, if anything, at this point, can Congress really do to mitigate the impact of such a massive hack?
Well, I think there are three things that we have to do. First, we have to obviously hold accountable the folks within the Department of Homeland Security and other places who are supposed to be clearing out the malware and preventing such malware from entering our systems in the first place. We've been on notice for such a supply chain attack over the last 4 years. In other words, that Russia and others would try to embed such malware in our systems. The second thing that we have to do is we have to authorize new provisions of the NDAA, which is now on the president's desk, that would give our intelligence authorities even more capabilities to prevent these cyber attacks in the future. Now, if the president vetoes this bill, we're going to have to override it. And that may come as soon as this week or next. The third thing that we have to do is we have to hold Russia accountable. There has to be a cost associated with what they do. In this particular case, as you mentioned, Attorney General Barr, Secretary of State Pompeo have already acknowledged it. Everybody knows it's the Russians, but the president refuses to acknowledge that they were behind this attack. The sad truth is that the burglar, so to speak, is still in the house. The Russians and their malware are still on our systems today. And so we have to tell them in a straightforward manner that we know you're here, we know your malware is here, and if anything happens because of that, we're going to be holding you accountable. I'm glad Joe Biden at least is doing that. I wish President Trump would do the same.
You hit something that I think is really important for our viewers, and that's the issue of accountability. So do you worry at all that the president will use this hack to perpetuate his claims that the election was rigged? I mean, he already hinted at it in a tweet just on Saturday.
He is going to perpetuate this myth as long as his fundraising apparatus needs that myth to be perpetuated. I know he's going to do whatever he's going to do, but from our standpoint, we have to band together with Republicans and Democrats who want to protect our cyber infrastructure from the Russians and other malign actors. If we come together on certain principles, such as we are not going to allow a foreign nation to attack our infrastructure, and certainly we're going to hold them accountable if they do, I think we're going to find some bipartisan consensus on those particular provisions.
Well, speaking of foreign nations, Congressman, there's this new strain of COVID-19 that is currently ravaging the UK right now. So should we impose new travel bans here in response?
we have to do something. As Governor Cuomo said, in JFK alone, there are about 6 or 7 flights from the UK every day. The same is true of O'Hare International Airport, which is part of my district in Chicago. We, at the least, have to prevent these people from just entering unimpeded. Back in the spring, my subcommittee that I chair in the Oversight Committee pointed out we failed to screen and failed to prevent people from Italy coming here who possessed a very contagious strain of COVID back then, and that led to a big spread of the virus across the country. We can't repeat that mistake now, whether it's from the UK or any other country.
Congressman Krishnamoorthi, thank you so much for joining us and spending time with us this Monday afternoon. We really appreciate it.